Well, thank you. I'm delighted to be here and delighted to have co-chaired with Minister Jaitley the 9th Economic and Financial Dialogue between our countries this afternoon. What we are doing here is building upon the commitments that our Prime Ministers have made to the closest possible commercial and economic relations between India and the UK. And this is especially important now as two things are happening. India's economy is growing and opening in a way that would have seemed unimaginable just a few years ago, and the UK has made the historic decision to leave the European Union and to reforge its historic links and ties with partners, allies and friends around the world. And Britain and India have a huge amount in common. We already have very significant trade and investment relationships. Britain is the largest G20 investor in India over the last 10 years. India is the third largest investor in the UK. Our trade together is solid, and we have what Prime Minister Modi called the living bridge linking our two countries, the 1.5 million Indian origin UK nationals living in the United Kingdom. We've made significant progress in the dialogue today, reviewing many areas of collaboration and resolving to build on those successes of the past. We've looked at the collaboration between our financial services industries, at the growing importance of masala bonds issued in London to finance India's infrastructure and the Make in India programme. We've made progress with the National Indian Infrastructure Fund, the UK-India sub-fund, where we will appoint an investment manager later on this year and begin making the first investments. And we've signed a Memorandum of Understanding on regulatory cooperation, and will build on that to grow the collaborative work between our regulators. Tomorrow I will go on to Mumbai to attend a conference on fintech, another area which we've discussed today, where there are huge opportunities for this dynamic growth sector in both the UK and India to work more closely together in the future. So across this whole range of activity, we have both continued to consolidate past successes and to identify new areas where we can work together over the next couple of years, preparing for the point where Britain leaves the European Union and is able to engage with our Indian colleagues in a deep discussion about a future free trade agreement between the United Kingdom and India, something that will guide our discussions over the coming dialogues as we reach for that future ambition. So thank you, Minister Jaitley, for your hospitality today, for a very successful dialogue, and we look forward to hosting you in London in a year's time to review the progress that has been made in the year following today's meeting. Thank you.
Now I would request the Honourable Minister of Finance, Defence and Corporate Affairs of India, Shri Arun Jaitley ji, to make his opening remarks.
Let me take this opportunity to welcome once again the Chancellor of Exchequer UK and his entire team, which is in India, as a part of this 9th round of the Indo-UK economic and financial dialogue. In fact, the relationship between the two countries, as outlined by the Chancellor, has been growing. It's a relationship which is not only driven by governments, but is also driven by the people, and it's also driven by the private sector itself. And therefore, 3 years ago, we had established Indo-UK financial partnership, with huge participation by private sector in both the countries. And earlier in the day today, we had 2 more reports, in addition to the 7 that they've already given, being presented by the private sector participation in this financial partnership. And these 2 reports that they've presented today are on internationalization of the rupee and on green financing itself. As a part of our dialogue, many issues of bilateral interests have been taken up for consideration. And we particularly had a candid discussion on the global and the domestic economic situation in both the countries. We've had a discussion on trade, investment, and the business environment in the 2 countries. And this is with particular reference to the investments being mutually made in each other country. And also the need for further improving upon the investments in India's infrastructure. We've also had a discussion on the financial services between the 2 countries, particularly with a lot of emphasis on several new initiatives being taken in India and the need for cooperation in the fintech area itself. As the Chancellor mentioned to you, there's a joint statement which is going to be released to you, where one of the important highlights is that we had established the National Infrastructure and Investment Fund. And one of the first major steps in that fund has been taken. And there is going to be a sub-fund with the UK and the NIF participating in it. And this is going to be a green growth equity fund, where both are going to be making a contribution of about 120 million pounds. And this would be financing the energy needs in India. So this is going to be a first major beginning as far as this fund is concerned. You will find details of it in the joint statement which we are issuing today. I think we'd had a very successful dialogue. And as I explained, this dialogue is government to government, but parallelly, on a similar track, the dialogue between the private sector also goes on. And I'm sure the next 1 or 2 years are going to be particularly momentous because of the kind of changes taking place in both the economies. UK post-Brexit is looking at a different level of relationship with India. And there's a huge aspiration in India itself also to add to and improve upon that relationship. And I'm sure the 10th and the 11th round of this dialogue will see this being taken to an entirely different level. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now the House is open for questions. Due to shortage of time, both the leaders have agreed to take 2 questions each. So my request to you to kindly raise your hand, and before asking question, identify yourself and your organization and whom the question is directed. Yes, please, descend.
Thank you. Ed Conway from Sky News in the UK. And I have a question for both the Chancellor and for Finance Minister Jaitley as well. In the UK, there are some key figures who are talking about Britain's post-Brexit trade relations as Empire 2.0, the second coming of the British Empire. And they're also kind of implying that these are going to be very easy to prosecute. Do you have a sense as to whether they're being complacent? And also, more broadly, is Britain's history in India, would you say it's a help, a hindrance, or just irrelevant when it comes to prosecuting this trade deal?
Ed, I think you just made that up this morning, didn't you, before you came in here? I have never heard anybody talking about that.
Well, I can only tell you what I see as a relationship post-Brexit. Ever since the Brexit referendum took place, it's been very clear to us in our communications with the government in the United Kingdom that post-Brexit they look for more trade, more open trade, and more trade arrangements with India. Now, obviously, these can be formally discussed and formalized after the Brexit takes place. But it probably is going to imply a far wider and a far higher level of engagement between the two countries. What shape it will take can only formalize post the Brexit negotiations itself.
Yes, please. This gentleman from this side. Yeah. Take it, yeah.
My question is for Chancellor Hammond. My name is Shishir. I work for ABP News. India is working hard to bring back two key economic offenders, Mr. Malia and Mr. Modi from Britain. Did this matter feature in your discussion, and what kind of assurance Britain would like to give to India?
Well, I believe in one of the cases concerned, an extradition request has been made, and under our sub judice rules, that is not something I'm afraid I would be able to discuss, or that it would be proper for ministers to discuss. It is a matter before the courts.
Yes, please. This lady.
Svenja O'Donnell from Bloomberg. Minister Jaitley, aren't you tempted to look at your British counterpart and ask him why on earth he's thinking of leaving Britain's largest market? And Chancellor, India is a country of 1.3 billion people, not known for finalising trade deals in a particularly timely fashion. How realistic is it to expect a trade deal that's beneficial to Britain and that can be done in good time?
Well, as a part of a functional democracy, we've learned to respect verdicts in other democracies. And we never question the verdicts in a democracy. And I'm sure whatever the people in the United Kingdom decide for themselves, we respect that verdict. And we learn to work within the new framework which is created.
Well, let me say, first of all, that the UK's decision to leave the European Union was essentially a decision not to be part of what was becoming an ever closer political union. I don't think there is anybody in the UK that voted to leave the European Union because they wanted to do less trade with the 27 other member states in the European Union. So we've made that decision that we will not be part of the structure of the European Union, but we've also made very clear that we want to negotiate the maximum possible open trade relationship with the European Union in the future. So we hope to be able to negotiate a deep and special relationship with the European Union that will allow us to go on trading together, go on investing in each other's economy, but at the same time allow us to rebuild our relationships with our partners and allies around the world. And just, if I may just come back to the question that Ed asked at the beginning, which is germane to this, this is a mature relationship between equals, the largest democracy in the world and the oldest democracy in the world, coming back together to look at building a new relationship as India's economy opens up, as the UK averts its gaze from Europe more towards the wider world, and both of us seeing opportunities that of course are based on some of our common heritage. We share a legal system, we share a language of business, which gives us huge advantages in trying to build trade and investment links between our countries. These are things that we can and we will build upon. But I am very clear that this is a relationship of equals. India is a major investor in the UK's economy, just as the UK is a major investor in India's economy, and we look forward to building this relationship on that basis.
Justin Rowlatt, BBC. Minister Jaitley...
Can you introduce yourself, please?
I just did. Justin Rowlatt from the BBC.
Okay, thank you.
Minister Jaitley, India is doing very well with its current trading arrangements and has always proved reluctant to do trade deals with other countries. Are you willing to make an exception for the UK?
Well, I think once that opportunity arises after Brexit, India is open to all arrangements which are in mutual interest for expanding trade. India, as you've seen over the last few years, has been opening out. We've been opening out in terms of the nature of investments in India. We've been opening out in terms of our trade. And I'm quite certain that arrangements which are mutually beneficial to both the economies could be arrived at But that's, as I said, possible once the legal entitlement of the United Kingdom to enter into such arrangements arises.
Yeah, at the back.
Sir, I'm Ruchi Bhatia from ET now. My question is for the Indian Finance Minister. You did discuss a report on internationalization of the rupee. Could you help us understand what were the broad
You see, that's a
contours
report.
of it?
That's a report which has been submitted by the two chairs of the partnership today itself. We'll be examining that report. It's been just submitted to us today.
The last question, please.
Sir, can I have
Yeah, please.
So you also discussed about masala bonds. Can you tell us what is going to happen on this issue? And also, was there any discussion on the euro clear issue, whether Canadian securities could be made euro clear?
Well, we talked about the growth of the masala bond market in London and the contribution that it can make, that it has already made, and that it can make in the future to India's financing needs. India obviously has a huge appetite for financing, for infrastructure and other projects over coming years. And we are very pleased with the success of the issues that have been made in London and with the news that there are more issues coming over the next months in London. We welcome them, and we will seek to encourage more and more Indian entities, both public and private, to raise finance in London through the masala market.
With this, we close this press
Sir, I have been
conference.
waiting. Sir,
Please.
can I have one question, sir, with Indian Finance Minister?
Thank you
Sir,
very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.